So what's up guys, this is a video covering Flexishield 2.0. Now I'm not going to cover the installs at the moment, we're purely going to be talking about the planning on how you're going to install the car. Now there are three different ways you can install this film. You can do it dry, you can do wet, and we call it a hybrid, which is kind of a deconstructed wet install. Now a lot of people, well I've seen a lot of installers getting this a little bit wrong or a bit confused. When it comes to the properties of this film, it's a very elastic, very flexible film, so it's easy to pull the shapes into. Like I say, I'm not going to get into the install, but the air channels are very small air channels. This is obviously to aid in doing it dry, but if you're trying to do large panels, doing it dry is going to be difficult, and the air channels start to close down and they trap air. I think what a lot of installers are getting wrong is they think they can pick up this film and they can do the whole car dry or the whole car wet. Now you can do that, but that does bring in complications. Now some of you would say, why don't you make the air channels bigger? But if you do that, then basically you're just going to lose the finish, and that's what Flexishield's film is all about. So just talking about the planning of this car, as you can see I've already started, and what I want you guys to think about is when it comes to dry install, it's suited to smaller panels or panels that have got a small amount of contact. What I mean by small amount of contact is this side, so it's done dry. When you're applying it, the initial contact of the film is going to be on this edge, and then it's going to be bridged over here, and it's going to not be touching at the bottom. In panels like this, it's easy to do dry because you control the air. Now, looking at this entire car, it's a Lexus SC430. The reason we're going to show you this car, we're going to show you the install and everything. It has a lot of areas where we've seen installers come into complications with. Now, what I want installers to get out of their head is don't think all dry or all wet or in the middle, which we're going to show you. But if you utilise the fact that this is a wet and dry film, you can speed up your install greatly and a lot quicker. Now, as you can see, I've done two panels, I've done the same on the opposite side. I've done this dry. When you're doing it dry, it's suited to smaller panels, it doesn't trap air. Straight away, when you're doing a dry install, you can trim your edges, you can wrap them, and the panel is basically done. That is suited very well to the lower skirts or smaller panels, what I'm going to get into. Now what I want you to think about is, typically when you're wrapping a car, we would start to the top to the bottom, because we don't want to lean across work that we've already done. Now, obviously this is PPF, if you scratch it, you can just heal it, so you don't have to think about that anymore. But to speed up your install, you can see what I've done is I've actually started with the side skirt, because I can do it dry, it's done, it's complete. These panels here are going to be done in a hybrid method, because it suits it. Now why a hybrid method is basically a deconstructed wet. This means that I can control where I want the water to be and where I want it to stay at dry. The advantage of that is, if you're thinking about the speed of the install, as you can see, I've just fitted this panel. With a hybrid install, I've left the top, the front, and the top edges here, and this front edge has stayed dry during the install. That means I can wrap them instantly, and that where I've let the water come out is here at the bottom. This film does not like to go around the edges if there's still water there. You have to let it dry. So to utilise the properties of the film, we've used the hybrid method, and as you can see, I'm going to leave this to dry. When it's dry, I can come back and can finish it off. But because I've done hybrid, I managed to finish this edge off and this top edge off. This frees me to do this panel straight away. I don't have to wait for anything to dry off here, because it's going to get in the way. Same with this panel, this is freed up. Now, if we look at this one again, this roof, because it's a larger surface area, and the same with the bonnet, it's not going to be suitable to do dry and get the finish that we're trying to get. So these are either going to be a hybrid or a wet install. But if you're thinking about speed and an efficient install, you really need to think about how this whole car is going to come together. So as I say, we've started at the bottom, we've done this one in a hybrid, it's freed us up for the door. When it comes to the roof, these are small panels at the front and the back. We're going to do all of these dry, and we're going to do those first so that they're done and finished off, and then when we come to doing the hybrid on top, we have time to let it dry off. This is not going to impede on us working on these panels. So that is what you need to think about. You need to start utilising all three methods to speed up your install, and that is the advantage to having a wet and a dry PPF. It's not really based upon the fact that you're going to do one or the other for the entire vehicle. It doesn't really work when you're looking to try and get a high quality finish. So we're going to do videos of each install on this. It's not going to be covered in this video, but what I want installers to start thinking about, and you'll see it if you watch the other videos, is how we can utilise dry and wet to get the best finish and also speed up our install. If you've ever used a full wet PPF for colour change, it is different to bulk fit and clear. When we're bulk fit and clear, certain edges you can trim on the edge or slightly shorter, and this helps you speed up your install because you're not waiting to wrap it. When we're doing a colour change PPF, we want to get all corners and all full coverage of the panels. Hence why using a dry and a wet PPF comes into effect. And obviously, like doing things like mirrors and door handles, being able to do them dry is a lot quicker than being able to do them wet. So when you're looking at a vehicle and you're going to do it, first think about how it's going to affect you. I've done the side skirt first, that's done. So anything that's going to start happening that needs drying time is not going to affect me as an installer. And I say, this is done hybrid, so I'll finish off the top edges immediately. I can now move on to this panel. But what I'm going to do is I do this one, I'm going to do the same to this. I'm going to keep the top edge and the back edge dry. I'm going to finish this top edge, this edge and this edge straight away. We're going to have a bit of drying time here and here, because that's how we're going to direct the water. But you will see how that's done. But what that does is it immediately frees up this door for me, because this edge is not in the way anymore. So, and then you can keep a constant flow as an installer around the car. So try to think about why wet and dry comes into effect. It's not, if you want the best finish, you need to utilise all three methods. So yeah, we're going to cover that in a different video, and you'll see how each method works. But I really want you to start thinking about a different way of installing the car, and then this will it will show you how you can speed up your install. That's kind of the main reason you would want to have a wet and a dry PPF. But yeah, stay tuned for the next videos and you'll see how this all works.